Okay, just before we crack into today's video, let me explain how you can help us. More and more Kiwis are waking up to the fact that New Zealand is in big trouble right now. So how can we turn this country around? The answer is through education. What does that mean? Well, it means exposing more and more people to our videos. It's as simple as that. Just click on the subscribe button on the bottom right-hand corner of your screen, and you'll be subscribed. What happens then? Well, when you subscribe, YouTube sends our videos out to more Kiwis. That's how it works. Subscribing is free. You'll never be charged anything. It's just that simple. So please do it and then enjoy the rest of the video. Thank you very much for watching. Just by subscribing, you can play a big part in the solution to fixing New Zealand. Well done, you. Okay, you beautiful New Zealanders. Well, in this video, part 2, the subject of this video is, what is the Te Pāti Maori Party really up to by rebelling in Parliament? What really are they up to? You'll remember in yesterday's video I discussed how Trevor Mallard and Jerry Brownlee are to blame fair and square for the Te Pāti Maori rebellion insubordination in Parliament. I discussed how behind Brownlee are the puppet masters LUXON and POTAKA. Really, this is about Brownlee being too weak to say no to LUXON and POTAKA. Number 4, I discussed how Maori want to take control of Parliament. And number 5, how the National Party, by being weak, is breeding brats and anarchists. They are allowing Te Pāti Maori to take over, even fueling their cause. Yesterday I discussed how lawyer Stephen Frank summed up the situation perfectly. Well, what are we doing today? I'm going to make the point that the government has already lost the battle. Number 2, I'm going to show how Judith Collins has capitulated even before the Select Committee hearing. Number 3, how the Maori Party has the upper hand. I discuss how the outcome is very predictable and what that outcome will be. So watch. First of all, what's really going on inside our Parliament? I've already pointed out that what is going on in Parliament between Te Pāti Maori and the government is really all about power and control. Te Pāti Maori want to dominate Parliament. They're acting like spoilt brats and the government like foolish, weak parents. So I'm asking you, does this look like and sound like a strong leader? Will you decide? Just watch this.
But what comes after the final chance?
Well, then we'll make a determination.
What's the point in having, if they've made their view clear about not coming here today, what's the point in offering another chance?
Actually, this is a very serious matter. We take it very seriously. The consequences can be very serious for members of Parliament. We think, as a committee, that we need to give one further chance because we do not want to have anybody under any illusions as to just how serious this is.
Would you ask the House to summons him?
Oh, we don't summons except for people who are not members of Parliament.
The House can
summons you. I'm not going to go down that track.
What?
No, I think they're old enough to make their own decisions. If they don't turn up, there are obviously
just how serious could the consequences?
They're quite serious consequences.
For example,
we're getting ahead of ourselves because we haven't made any determination. But it can be up to, there's a suspension, there's a fine, there's all those sorts of things. And I think we just leave it there because we don't care.
Okay, so there you go. Really, Judith has lost already, in my view. She's already lost the battle. In that interview, she looked old and tired, to be fair. She sounded weak. If you say someone has one chance and then you back down and give them another chance, psychologically speaking, you've lost the war. Te Pāti Maori will watch that clip and laugh. They'll say things like this. See, she's not serious. She said first time round they have one chance and we flouted that one. Then she says we have another chance. She's weak. She's a pushy. This is such fun. This has turned out to be a Rottweiler versus a poodle. That's what's going on here. She's getting completely outwitted by these guys. What should Judith have said? She should have said when she came out of that no-show Te Pāti Disciplinary Committee meeting and met the reporters when they had a no-show, she should have said something like this. Te Pāti Maori did not turn up at the meeting at the agreed place in time. The committee has made its decision. The 3 Te Pāti Maori MPs who perform the haka will be banned from Parliament indefinitely on no pay and all perks and privileges like air travel and expenses cancelled. In 1840, Maori ceded sovereignty. This gave the British the full right to rule over the citizens of this country, including Maori. I represent the government. These MPs have broken the rules of this House and were given the opportunity to respond, but they chose not to. They have missed that chance. This is my ruling. This is the end of the matter. Thank you. Boom. That should have been the end of it. Then she should have just walked off. But she did not do this. Well, why didn't she do that? The answer is because she's not a leader. Initially, she said no to Chris Finlayson Initially, she said no to the Maori part of Tikanga expert coming in. As Stephen Franks said, the lawyer, Collins has the power to refuse these two being present in that meeting. All other people who come before a disciplinary committee have to speak for themselves. You know what? If you're an MP and you can't speak for yourself, then you shouldn't be an MP. Then Collins changed her mind. She did a flip-flop. This is the camel moving into the tent little by little. Now, if you don't know what the camel in the tent is, then watch the last video. You'll find out. This is Maori taking control, being in control, calling the shots. Well, what do I mean? Well, Te Pāti Maori broke the rules, performing a haka. Next, they refused to attend a disciplinary hearing time and date. Next, they set their own time and date. Next, they decided who was going to be there. They said, we're going to have a Tikanga expert in Finlayson. Next, Collins did not disagree. Next, Collins gives them a second chance. Next, Te Pāti Maori said they're going to set up their own disciplinary committee. These are all capitulations, every single one of these. So what's happening here? Te Pāti Maori are in control. That's what's happening. They're running circles around Collins. The camel is moving into the tent. They're loving being the centre of media attention. That's Te Pāti Maori. Paka and Waititi are the spoilt brat children running the home. See, let's just go back over this. Te Pāti Maori broke the rules performing a haka. That's rebellion. Then they refused to attend a disciplinary meeting. That's rebellion. Next, they set their own time and date. That's rebellion. Next, they decided who's going to be there. That's rebellion. Next, Collins did not disagree. Next, she gives them a second chance. That's weakness times 2. See what's going on here? Watch this video with Paka and Waititi. It's absolutely mind-blowing. Okay, as you watch this video, you need to be very aware of what is actually happening here. This is heavy psychological warfare all the way through. This whole interview is marinating in spin and trickery. And as we work through it, I'm going to be stopping the video from time to time and making commentary to alert you as to what is going on so you don't miss anything. So let's watch this together. Paka starts off by sounding reasonable and calm and measured, thanking everybody for coming and for, their special time that they've had to give up and so on. She's trying to sound like a diplomat and someone reasonable and lovely, but you know what? She's none of these things. She's actually a treasonist, a subverter, and a rebel. Both of these two are snakes who are working against the best interests of New Zealand as a country. So let's watch this together.
Thank you for your time. I appreciate it. I know everyone's really busy. Look, the announcement, despite numerous attempts on our part to work with the Privileges Committee, and obviously we wanted to ensure that there was a fair hearing and representation.
Hang on, Debbie. You're in trouble. You're going to court inside Parliament. You're having to be answerable to the other members of Parliament for your bad behaviour. You don't set the time. You don't set the date. You don't set who can be there. You're not in charge. You're the defendant. You're the guilty party. What are you doing? She's talking as though she's the judge and she's the court official. She's not. She's the guilty party. She's the defendant.
We're aware that in probably 23 plus years there hasn't been this type of challenge to the committee.
You know, what she's saying is that in 23 years, Parliament has never had to deal with treason and subversion, which is what these two are up to. The amazing thing is, she sounds proud of this. You know what? No doubt she's playing up to all the Maori, radicalised Maori out there who are watching, trying to portray herself as the staunch, tough chick who they should all follow and emulate, the great defender of all things Maori, the brave heart of Maoridom. But what have they achieved for Maori? Absolutely nothing, these two. These are the people who are wasting the precious time of Parliament, bouncing from one drama to the next, when Parliament ought not to be having to deal with any of this. You know what? New Zealand is in serious trouble in every area, and our MPs don't need this endless Te Pāti zoo-like sideshows going on. Anyway, let's keep watching.
But we wanted to make sure that our defence was given the appropriate time and voice, and we felt that it was really important that this didn't have a predetermined outcome.
You know, what's tragic here is MPs keep on capitulating to Maori demands. First Trevor Mallard giving in to wearing a tie, then Brownlee giving in to weapons in Parliament, Maori asking questions in Maori, he gave in to that, then giving in to the use of tikanga, Brownlee gave in to that. They keep making this fundamental mistake. What's that? They keep thinking that by giving a little, Maori will go away. No, that's not what happens. The opposite is true. You actually encourage them to come back for more. It's exactly the same with dealing with spoiled children. If you give in to them, even in the smallest way, you feed the monster. They will just keep coming back for more. Judith Collins has just fallen into this trap. She's let them change the date. She's let them change supporters coming into the room. She's let them be tried as a group. These are all massive capitulations. Surely there must be a leader in Parliament who can stand up to these treasonous, spoiled brats. That's what they are. They're snakes.
And we've constantly, there's been a lot of exchanges in letters and emails with our council about 5 key areas of concern to the Privileges Committee, and I think we tapped on that yesterday, but just to emphasise the...
This is where she launches into the complaints she has against their disciplinary committee. She says things like they refused to give them a joint session. What does that mean? Well, 3 of them did the haka, so there are 3 defendants. In a normal court, each defendant is cross-examined individually, but no, Te Pāti Maori didn't like that. They wanted to be cross-examined as a group and judged as a group. In other words, they're too weak and insecure to stand up for themselves, to stand alone in the dock. They want to be able to hold hands. See? This is their first complaint. There are others. Just watch.
Committee refused to allow us to have a joint session. We got up and represented this kaupapa through haka collectively. The committee rejected our right to have a council.
Okay, by council, what does she mean? Well, she means their lawyer, Chris Finlayson, and the supposed expert in tikanga that they're going to bring in. So they're going to bring a couple of heavies with them. And no one else in the history of Parliament has allowed a little team of people to help the defendant. But oh no, not Te Pāti Maori. They're Maori. They're entitled. They must be treated differently. They're special, remember? See? Collins at first said no to this, and she was right saying no to this. You know what? She shouldn't even have had a conversation with them about this. She should have said, look, turn up with just you two at a certain time in a certain room, and that's it. But no, she had a little conversation with them, and that showed weakness. But then she flip-flopped and changed her mind. This is Judith Collins. That was a big mistake, Judith. That was weakness on display, and you know, Te Pāti Maori going to eat you alive when you show weakness. They love it. Camel goes further into the tent.
Present submissions were a really crucial part of this, particularly involving our tikanga, given that that made up a critical part of the complaint.
You know what, this tikanga thing is a really, really big problem. Te Pāti Maori want to justify their haka in Parliament by arguing that it was part of tikanga or Maori law, L-O-R-E. Their goal is to have Maori law fully embedded into Parliament. What does this mean? If this happens, it will result in absolute chaos inside Parliament. Tikanga is about Maori gods, spirits, and ways of doing things. Te Pāti Maori want this to be entrenched in Parliament. What will be the effect of this? Well, then Te Pāti Maori can do whatever they want inside Parliament. It's a license for anarchy, Maori anarchy. We have to pray that Collins and Brownlee and others see through this demand, and they're not led like lambs to the slaughter, because you know, tikanga didn't get Maori very far pre-1840. They nearly self-annihilated with tikanga. There's nothing good about tikanga whatsoever, and they want to make it sort of the way you run Parliament. You know what they're really doing? They're trying to muscle their way in there so they can get control of Parliament, and you've got a Maori Parliament. Now, I just want you to imagine for a second that you've got 120 Maoris in that place. Just imagine that for a minute. That's what these guys have got as a vision in their heads. 120 MPs, all Maori, all in there fighting it out. How would you like that?
The committee refused to allow expert testimony from Tā Te Pou Temara on tikanga Māori, which denies our opportunity to provide context for our actions and context for their understanding. The committee denied our request to reschedule, limiting access to our chosen senior counsel, who is, you will all know, Christopher Finlayson, KC. We were particularly concerned for Hana, Rapati Maipi Clark, who has already been sanctioned in the House for her involvement in leading the haka and yet faces repeated proceedings. We said this yesterday emphatically. We will not allow the bullying of Hana because of her profile, and we've become really concerned for how our rangatahi are being bullied in this place. With all this being said...
Okay, now Packer moves on to playing the victim card. Didn't take too long. I was wondering when this was going to come out. How so? She talks about how Hannah was being disciplined in Parliament for leading the haka. This is the girl, Hannah Clark, who is the one who led it. And the accusation is that she is now being bullied. So I think we're meant to feel sympathetic, but let's not get distracted from the main thing, which is that these guys want to take over Parliament, and they want to dominate Parliament. They want to be the bosses of Parliament. That's the issue.
We've made the decision that if we needed to be reconciling to be transparent, if we didn't turn up today, you'd want to know why. And if we did, we have decided that being accountable is really important. And we want people to understand what it is to be Maori and to have tikanga in this place. So we will hold an alternative independent hearing here at Parliament on Wednesday, the 7th of May.
Really, this is now getting laughable. On the one hand, she says she wants to be accountable, then in the next sentence she says that they're going to set up their own alternative discipline committee. Really? Well, this is akin to a criminal saying they're not going to go to court after being summoned, but instead they will set up their own court. Here we see Maori delusion in full flight. You know, I'm amazed that the media did not pull them up about this. There are so many questions. For example, who will be the chairman or the chairperson of this kangaroo court? Who else will be there? Who are they inviting? Do they have authority to do this? So this is akin to the mongrel mob setting up a court, a mock court for the mongrel mob. On one level it's comical, really it is, but on the other it's not. It's seditious, it's treasonous. They're just flouting Parliament and all Parliament's laws. Obviously they don't have authority to set up this alternative committee, but this is how they operate. They're living in a parallel universe, truly they are.
And this was the original date that we had been requesting, and we will make sure that you're all aware of the details. We've been represented by Tania Waikato and Honourable Chris Finneson KC. Tania Waikato is a uri no Ngai Tuhoi, Ngāti Awa, Ngāti Hine, Ngāti Tūwhare and has over 20 years' experience working as a lawyer. She has recently been a formidable force in bringing light to many of our issues. You all know that Honourable Chris Finneson, he's no stranger to this place, and had the honour for all of his sins chairing the Privileges Committee for 6 years while he served as the Minister for the National Party. So we think he may know a thing or two. We've been extremely grateful for their kindness and offering support to us during this time, and we promise to be very good clients.
So they think they can invite all their own people along to a mock discipline committee. Finlayson, a Maori so-called tikanga expert, and some other Maori lawyer. I know what you're thinking, this looks like a joke, but actually these guys are deadly serious. They're serious about this. This is one flew over the cuckoo's nest. I'm amazed that there's nobody in Parliament stepping in here to say, hang on a minute, this is just crazy stuff, stop it. Put all those microphones away, put these interviews away. This is mocking Parliament. Where's LUXON? Where is he in all this? You know what? He's pushing it all along in the background. He doesn't want to be seen, but he's the guy pushing it all along.
Well, we don't know what is in store for us today in respect to the outcomes of the hearing today, but we know one thing: we're not sorry. Would we do it again? In a heartbeat, because this is who we are. And as this House deliberates, and as the media deliberates about what we are.
You know what, this is a very lame excuse for doing the haka. He says, quote, this is who we are, this is what we are. Well, let's just think that through. The boy racers with their cars would say the same. They could say the same. Those taking illegal fishing catches could say the same. Those committing acts of pedophilia could say the same. This is who we are, this is what we are. I like driving fast. Do I tell the cop when I'm pulled over, you can't give me a ticket, this is who I am, this is what I am, I'm a speedster. See how stupid that reasoning is? It was John Milton, the famous English poet, who said, he who reigns within himself and rules his passions, desires and fears is more than a king, unquote. Te Pāti Maori have not learnt about self-discipline and respecting rules. They have no regard for either. You know what? This they share in common with little toddlers. I mean, what would happen if a soldier disobeyed the rules of the army? What happens if they started disobeying orders? Waititi and Paka have just said openly they're not going to obey. This is rebellion. This is insubordination. This is flouting all the laws of Parliament. You can't tolerate this.
It would be easy for us to bow down to the system and do what they say and dismiss the very essence of who we are. But we all made promises to ourselves, to each other, to our whānau, to our constituents and to our electorates, to our people and to our mokopuna, that we will always stand up for ourselves, especially in the face of what seems to be a never-ending tsunami of hate.
Whoa, now they're bringing out the big guns. Once again, playing the victim. Now they're being hated on, they say. You know, really, this is so pathetic. They break the laws of Parliament, they're pulled up for it, and they have to face their music for what they did, take responsibility, but instead of being mature about it, they show they're spoilt brats. They're little toddlers. Oh, you hate us, they cry. You know what, I've seen little kids do that with their parents. If the parents don't give them a lolly, that's what they say. You hate me, they cry, trying their best to manipulate the parents into caving in. We've all seen that before, come on. Do you know what, this is brinkmanship. He says we're not sorry, we're not backing down. Parliament says you've done something really serious. And these are two parties absolutely diametrically opposed to each other. Now let's see how strong the coalition government is. They need to just kick these guys out. So unless you come back sorry, you're not coming back. That's it, forever. That's what they need.
This is not about a silly little privileges committee and their silly little rules. It's bigger than that. This is about us standing up against the tyranny of the majority and the contest between the dominating culture that Te Iwi Māori has to contend with. Against the people who at every turn are using their power to force us into submission.
Oh, so they're fighting against the tyranny of the majority. Really? He says Europeans are forcing Maoris into submission. Oh, really? Well, to me, he doesn't look at all like he's being forced to wear European clothes or forced to take European money or forced to drive a European car. He's not being forced to live in a European-style house, or he's not being forced to use European electricity, use a European grass cutter wearing European glasses. Come on. If he really wanted to detach from European culture and be authentic and genuine, then, you know, Waititi, come to work in a waka. Walk everywhere. Live in a grass hut. Wear a grass flax skirt. Use only water from the creek. And don't you dare go near any kind of shop. You know what? These people are not just delusional, but they're also Mount Everest-sized hypocrites. Completely unauthentic. This hypocrisy shows one thing. What's that? That their cries to accommodate Maori culture are a giant-sized, absolutely giant-sized farce. They're just a big front. The real reason for all these antics, these stunts, this carry on, is to get control of Parliament. That's what they want. That's what they're doing. It has nothing to do with culture. Such liars. Such dishonesty. You know what? There are 160 cultures in this country, and all the other 159 cultures grow and nurture their cultures in their homes and in their places of worship, after work or on the weekends or whenever. They never complain. They're happy. And their cultures are growing. Their language is preserved. There is absolutely nothing stopping Maori from doing the same. There's no laws and rules stopping or inhibiting Maori from growing and developing their culture or from speaking their language. So what are they on about? I'll tell you what it is. They want their culture to dominate all others. They want to control and to rule, to be the bosses. This is what's happening in Parliament. That's what it's about.
We have allowed this to happen to us for far too long, and we will no longer stand for it. When you all took, I'm talking to our people right now, when you all took to the streets for Te Tiriti, you empowered us to keep being brave, to keep standing up for ourselves inside of these trenches. And that's how we'll end this part of the kōrero. We'll now hand it over to you for questions. Kia ora tātou.
When we make a decision like this, it is actually about pushing back at the institution that hasn't had a pushback and saying that you have more than 50% of the Maori electorate MPs in this process.
Okay, hang on a minute. Let's just fact check that. She says, quote, you have more than 50% of the Maori electorate MPs in this process, unquote. No. There are 33 Maori MPs in Parliament. Te Pāti Maori has 6 MPs. 6 as a percentage of 33 is 18%, not 50%. Sorry, Debbie.
And you're not allowing us to express ourselves in tikanga.
Those out there that think Tikanga Maori and that are being Maori and using the tools that we comfortably use on the marae.
Oh my goodness, Rawiri thinks Parliament is a marae. Rawiri, it's not a marae. They're totally different places. Let's spot the difference. Here is a marae, and here is Parliament. Rawiri, can you see the difference? Can you spot the difference? Do what you like in this one. Do what you're told in this one. Pretty simple, really.
In debate, like haka, is not performative, it is actually transformative. This House needs to start reflecting more of what the iwi Māori has to offer, and we would encourage the Standing Orders Committee to look at what a tikanga process might look like in terms of implementing that into the Standing Orders.
Yeah, there has been. I mean, Adrian has been appointed to it, and there's certainly a lot of discussion going on. But I think, you know, what we've got to remember, sadly, in this place is that, you know, every little thing you do, we were actually out on the floor when Maori refused to wear his tie. I don't know if you remember that. We were out on the floor when we greeted Mika. This isn't new to us. The reaction is new to us. And so we're a little bit stunned by the reaction. But 1 billion people have witnessed what's gone on, and we've got an obligation to continue with saying we must do better. We must make this place and bring the barriers down so that we continue to resist against the dominating culture, which we feel has us as Māori under siege every day in this place.
Do you know what? This is military talk. It's obvious Te Pari Māori see Parliament as a war zone. It's a battlefield for them. Someone has to win and someone has to lose. It's either European law and culture and democracy, one law for all people being treated equally, or it's tikanga and tribal rule. This is the end game of Te Pari Māori. They're not there to help New Zealand. They're not here to make a better country. This is an ideological battle. This is a psychological battle. Listen to what David Lange said. You know what his former Labour Prime Minister David Lange said? He said this: did Queen Victoria for a moment think of forming a partnership with a number of signatures, a number of thumbprints and 500 people? Queen Victoria was not that sort of person. We can have a democratic form of government, or we can have indigenous sovereignty. They can't coexist, and we can't have them both. That's David Lange. And he summed it up beautifully. You can't have them both. So somebody's got to win this war in this Parliament. You know what the tragic thing is? All of this is distracting everybody from doing the business of the country, which is what MPs were elected to do. These guys are a giant distraction. They're hypocrites. They do nothing. They achieve nothing. Except they're vexatious. They're just trouble. They cost a lot of money. If we were on a ship, they'd be chucked overboard. Surplus baggage. Truly.
We're in the thrust of a power game.
So there you have it. Packer says that we're in the midst of a power game. This is the rebellious, spoilt brat children fighting it out with their weak, pathetic parents. That's what's going on. And then Rawiri, he summarises what he thinks is happening in Parliament. Have a listen.
And not to continue its domination and its subjugation and its assimilation of our people in a house that was consented to by my ancestors when they signed Te Tiriti o Waitangi, and your ancestors when they signed Te Tiriti o Waitangi.
Well, thankfully, Rawiri finishes by going to the treaty, and I'm glad he did, because we got to find out what's the root of all his screwed up thinking. Well, he's carrying a terribly wrong understanding of the treaty. How do you mean? Well, he thinks Maori only gave permission for the British to rule over the British, but not Maori. That's wrong. He thinks Maori did not cede sovereignty. That's wrong. He thinks the treaty is a partnership. That's wrong. He therefore thinks Parliament must accommodate its treaty partners, Maori, and their tikanga, their Maori law. Tell you what, man, he is one messed up puppy, and we're paying his salary. Okay, that's enough for this video. Thanks for listening. Please like, subscribe, pass it on to your friends. See you in the next video. Okay guys, that's enough for today's video. Thank you so much for watching. Now we need your help with something. This is important. We have produced some great flyers and brochures which we want to get into the hands of all New Zealanders. So we need to go around the mainstream media. They're not going to help. In fact, they're making things a lot worse. So we have to go around them. And we need your help to make this happen. We can't do this without you. So what are we talking about? First, there is our business cards. They're only 3 cents each plus courier to get them to you. Then there is our latest booklet called The Psychology of Takeover, 19 strategies Maori activists are using to take over the country. It's 80 pages and packs a huge punch. So they're cheap, they're $3, and they're absolutely fantastic if you want to get a handle on what's actually happening in New Zealand. Then we have a few thousand of our original Stop Co-Governance booklets left over from my tour in 2023. Remember these? You'll remember we printed 550,000 of these. Well, these are now free because we realized that only about 1/3 of New Zealand houses got this booklet last when I did my tour, and so we want to get to the other 2/3. So if you do a few streets around where you live, that would be absolutely phenomenal, and they are free now. Then we have our MACA, that's Marine and Coastal Act brochure 2, which alert people to the loss of our beaches. You know, we're in danger of losing all the beaches around New Zealand. The text is written by Graham Adams, who's a great author. These are now free. And then we have our beautiful bumper sticker, which we've just made. And why are we doing this? Well, New Zealand's identity is under threat. We know that. First activists have and are still trying to change the name of New Zealand to Aotearoa. We don't want that. We must oppose this. This is rubbish. Where's the referendum saying that we want to change the name of the country? There was none. It was just forced on us. Second, Maori sovereignty flags are appearing more and more all over the place, and they're just treason. So we've got to get these bumper stickers out. So we've printed some awesome bumper stickers. They're $3 each, and they measure 21.5 by 6.5, so you can see how big that would be on your car. To get any of these free products, all you need to do is pay for the courier to get them to you. For the products that cost something, like the bumper stickers or the little psychology booklet, it's the cost plus the courier to get them to you. So to order any of these products, just use this email address, cards@stopcogovernance.kiwi, and we'd love to hear from you. Finally, if you want to access all the videos we've ever made, including all our most viewed and most popular videos, and have them all in one place, which is what people are asking for, then just type in this address into your browser. There it is there, https www.youtube.com/@stopcogovernance, and you'll find it go straight to our channel. Then what you do is save this address to your computer as a favorite. Job done. Well done. Then you've got them all in one place forever. And all the new ones that are coming in get placed into that address, so you won't miss anything. Okay, last thing, please, oh please, don't forget to subscribe. When you subscribe, you'll get the latest videos straight into your inbox. You'll never miss a video, which is great. You'll link up with like-minded people all over New Zealand, and that's very, very stimulating to have meet up with all these people who think like you. You'll be telling YouTube, I like these videos, and they will respond by advertising our videos to more Kiwis for free. It's incredible what they do, but it just relies on you replying to comments and making comments and liking things and sharing things and activity. That's what it is. It's just activity on our channel. And turning New Zealand around is simply a matter of reaching more Kiwis with the truth. So just click on the subscribe button on the bottom right hand side of your screen. The little yellow arrow is showing you where it is, and you'll be subscribed. Okay, see you next time. You guys are awesome.